Hello, Sam here from Alder Systems, and in this video I'd like to show you how we can integrate nice motors into nice home management. Here I've got a nice shade motor. This is the EraIn Smart AC. And I've also got the DIN mounted building management. This is the DMBM. There is also the DIN module bus and power distribution. This is the DMBPD. And I've got a Meanwell 24 volt DIN mounted PSU. The Meanwell PSU connects into the DMBPD to power it. On the back of the DMBPD are 4 small terminals. In the box of these modules and the DMBM, you'll get these little bridging pins. These pass through any power and bus information to other connected modules. One DMBM module can have up to 50 Era smart motors connected to it. The maximum length of the bus cable is 600 meters, and at the end of that line you would put 120 ohm termination resistor. On the DMBM, I've got a 2-pair cable going to my motor for communication. This particular motor also requires 240 volts. On the motor we have a couple of wiring options. We can operate the motor using a contact closure method, so control it from switches or even light sensors. Or, as I said, how I have mine wired on the communication bus. So let's get straight into the integration. At the time of this video, the DMBM out of the box is on a static IP address of 192.168.0.1. You'll need to configure your computer to an IP address in the .0 subnet to be able to see the DMBM on the network. Once you've done that, give the DMBM a reboot and you can bring it into Configurator. In my configurator, I go to System and Discovery, and we can see the DMBM is ready to be installed, and I simply click Install. Shading in Nice comes under the Lighting tab. We can see the Nice DMBM shade interface under Communication Devices. In here we can sync the configurator to the DMBM, and we can scan the bus to query the DMBM for additional DIN modules and connected smart motors. We can see then under the lighting controllers the Nice shade controller. If I expand this, we can see it's brought in my smart motor. Let's take a look at the properties. So the name is an InSmart S AC. The display name I'm going to change. Its class is automatically selected as shade, and it's included in the UI or user interface. And I'll set its location to office. Invert DIN percentage reverses the 0 to 100 position for sending and receiving. It then gives me the address and what number endpoint it is and its current position. We can then test the blind by winking the blind. This will jog the shade up and down, and we can manually wink the blind by pressing the up and down buttons. We've got collision detection with 4 levels of detection. The collision detection will react to an alteration of 0.082 nanometers to protect the blind and or the object it may come in contact with. Now I can set the limits by moving the motor up or down, and also small ticks to do any fine tuning to get the blind to the perfect level. So I'm going to set my low limit. And then I'll do some fine adjustments with the tick button. and then set lower limit. I'll do the upper limit now. So I'll press the up arrow. And do a few ticks to get it into the position I'd like. And then set the upper limit. Now both my limits are set. We can also change the speed of the motor too by using the RPM or time options. If you've got multiple shades in a room, for instance, you can adjust the speed so they can all raise and lower at the same time and give that perfect alignment. Once this is done, we can set up shading groups to add multiple shades into and control them from one interface. This is also helpful for testing hem bar alignment. And that's it in terms of the configuration. The DMBM does also have a web UI where there are lots of features and options, but we're not going to go into too much detail in this video. The majority of what you need is right here in the configurator. Any changes you do make in the DMBM web UI will require the sync from DMBM button pressed in the communication device for the shade interface. Because my lights and shade have a classification set, the Nice Viewer will put the shade on the shading page and the lights on the lighting page. On my viewer interface, we have the lighting system tab. Now, this could be overseen by your customer, and you might get a phone call saying, "Where are my shades?" There's a few ways we can combat this. We can change the language of the lighting tab to say light and shades, for instance. In Configurator, if I go to System and Language, I can organise this list by context and find main tabs in the list. I'll find lighting and translate it to light and shade. Press Apply, and the tab is now called Lights and Shade. But we still do have the light bulb as the icon. We can separate this out by creating an area called Shades and adding the shades into there, and presenting the area on the touchscreen under its own system tab. To do this, I'll go back into Configurator and go to the Layout tab, and add a new level called Shades. And then a new area called Office Shades. I'm going to head to Lighting and set the location for the office shade to be in the area Office Shade. Under the System tab, I can create a custom tab called Shades. And give it a shade icon. I'll move it up in the list under Lights. And before I add the shade back to the interface, I'm going to change the language of light and shade back to lighting. And I'll now head back to the interface tab and add the office shade to my viewer interface under the shade subsystem. And I'll go to my computer viewer and now press the shade subsystem button. And there is my office shade at 100%, which means it's letting through 100% light. If I slide this down to 0, the shade is now closing to the lower limit that I set. Lovely. Now to open it, I'm going to go to 50%. Excellent. Notice the shade also has a soft start and stop, so it slows down when it goes towards the limit that is set to. And now we can go ahead and go to 100%, which is open. And that is Nice Shade Motors. Some of the features of the motors are the soft start and soft stop, obstacle detection, which reacts to an alteration of 0.082 nanometers to protect the blind and also any objects it may come in contact with. There's perfect alignment, where if there are very top limits, the blinds will all end at the same point in both directions. There's speed alteration. There's also sun alignment as well, so we can set the orientation of the motor. So if it was northwest facing, and when the sun travels through the day, the blind will move to restrict the glare in the property from the sun. And also the motor runs at less than 35 decibels. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope this video has been of some help to you.